Good evening. Look at how I just kind of jump right in like that. How are you tonight? I'm doing well. I worked all day. I mean, it was just work. And I did get caught up on a lot of things. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to check. It's kind of warm in the house. What's going on here? Can't sleep like this. That's after. Says it's okay. Okay. All right. Well, who am I? How are you tonight? Have you been working as well? I get everything in order. I just went after today. Hard. Yeah, I did eat lunch. I did eat dinner, but other than that, just in the office all day. And you say, well, why is a real estate broker in the office? You can't make any money doing that. And, you're kind of right. If I'm not showing houses, I'm not talking to people listing their homes, I'm not making money. So tomorrow I'm going to go show houses again. It was a weird thing that happened here in St. Louis today. The school district for my kids sent an email last night saying that the National Weather Service had advised them that there was going to be severe storms with the potential for thunder, or for what are those things called? Tornadoes. Now, this is the first time we've ever gotten a letter over a strong thunderstorm. And when I was a kid, you went to school no matter what. I've talked about the earthquake preparedness at my school, and in the past, and I've also, we used to have nuclear bomb warnings and the tornado warnings. They're pretty similar. You'd go out in the hallway and crouch down into a ball, and I always thought that was kind of dicey. But the idea there was that the windows were, in the rooms, and then there were no windows in the hallways, so you'd be safer. What if you were by the door, like close to the outside? I guess that was just one of you were going to check out. But I don't think they do that anymore. I don't know. I'll have to ask the kids. I don't know if we do that kind of stuff or not. Instead, I guess you just go and talk to the parents and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and that's that. So anyway, when we got the notice this morning, it did rain about 9:00, and I did have some people inquire about houses, but I said, okay, can we just go tomorrow? Because my kids' school is saying that there's going to be terrible storms. Now, we didn't have terrible storms, and that's really the issue for me is like, look, we're already not going out in the snow. Now it's going to be heavy rains. We're going to be afraid of school. It's gotten a little ridiculous, but that's, I guess, for another day. I got my first comment on the live stream this morning. I think we've done, I don't know how many we've done. Let me see if I can count real quick. We've done 10. We've had 10 episodes, and I got my first comment on episode number 9. So I appreciate that, and I hope more of you feel like the need, to comment or even jump into the chat. I know I've got the chat. We're gonna have to be a member to subscribe or a member to chat, but if I don't, I just get all kinds of spam. I've got my real estate live stream in the morning, and it used to just get filled with all kinds of spam, and I just, I don't want that. I want to be able to chat with my friends. So anyway, that's that. I think, in the evenings, it's just more like I just want to get after it. I know, what I want to talk about. I know your guys' time is valuable like mine. And, this is something to wind down. So a couple of things, I think. One, if you have a story about your job, I'd love to hear it. You can email me. You can post it in chat. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Tell me about it. Put it in the comments. You can put it in the comments on the YouTube channel for later, and I'll read it. I have time to read chats and read comments and respond. Um, I'm intrigued by I'm intrigued by the employment environment in the United States and the rest of the world. I think it's ridiculous. I don't know how to put it any other way. It's not about just going to work and getting a job done for like 70 to 80% of the people. It's about something else, and I'm not sure that I agree with the something else, but there's just something that's been broken about work now for a while. Let me just point out to you that I guess when I started Deerwood Realty and when I got out of college and started a couple other businesses that ultimately failed, I think that what I was afraid of most is what I saw within my own family, where you'd have family members that would get to be about the age of 60 and could see retirement coming, see full benefits coming from their company, and then being fired. Not for their age, of course, because that would be illegal, but maybe layoffs, and they just happen to be the ones, maybe a buyout, or maybe the company just didn't make it. One of the problems that I see, and I'm not, I'm not God. I don't know how to fix every problem, but like just in our society, okay, you go and you get a job when you're in your 20s, maybe. I mean, you go get a job earlier, but I mean, you go get that job for your quote unquote career that you've been studying for in your 20s. And then through no fault of your own, you could go work, go work for your first company. You could go out of business. It could ruin your resume for the rest of your life. That doesn't seem like, I know the world isn't fair, but it doesn't seem fair. And then we have a romanticized vision of employment in the United States. This idea that you go work for this company for 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, and then you retire and everything's perfect with your life and it goes well. I don't know how many people get to enjoy that in companies. Do you think even half? I think maybe about 10% of the entire workforce gets to work at an organization and retire at the same organization. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but I think that there needs to be some sort of understanding. And I hate to credit anything that the second George Bush did or said, but they were talking about like workplace portability. The idea that like you worked someplace and you had all these bundle of benefits, and then when you left the company, you're able to keep those benefits going forward into the new organization. And I don't understand the particulars. I don't know how it would work in real life, but it just seems like you get into this spot where if you're not careful, you're going to be out of the employment loop and you're never going to get back in. And I think that's a problem. For myself, I took chances with small family-run corporations or companies, micro companies. I mean, really small. After I'd lost my businesses, and it just wasn't. It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a good thing. You have to have some sort of. I don't know how to explain it. You have to teach yourself. You have to have the desire to teach yourself in a small organization so that you can have the skills necessary to get out of there. And, and for myself, as I've said before, bringing on people to my organization is a tough go, because I'm not obviously going to get the best in anything. Because I can't pay for it. It's not that I don't want the best, but it's not that I also can't pay for that. So, is real estate sales, is that a very technical job? No. But boy, if you can do some certain things like in a row, like have some sort of consistency, you can do some pretty good things. So that's kind of where I'm at on and how this employment thing relates to my thinking. And then, when I was a kid, when I was maybe in my 20s, I had a job and my mom was like, you need to go take this job. And the job was terrible. In fact, the job was I would drive maybe 30 to 40 minutes away from the house in rush hour, and then maybe an hour even. And then that was 2 hours of my day gone. And then the wages that I would get by the time I paid taxes and everything, it was nothing. It was nothing. I mean, it was just not worth it. And how many of you find yourself in jobs that just don't pay? Like there's just no point. And then how many of you get paid for jobs when you're like, I can't believe anyone's paying me for this? These people are either, dumb or something, but I shouldn't be being paid this much for this particular task. And so I do think in some ways, the workplace in a lot of part of the United States has become a facade. I mean, let's just, not as a criticism, but let's say that you wanted to start an X-ray company. Well, they send the X-rays across the world to interpret those. They farm that out. What about, heavy computer coding? Is that even done in the United States anymore? That's probably farmed out too, probably to India. And it goes on and on and on. It's just a very strange place and strange time. And I don't have any answers. But I thought, between all of us, we could, get a better foundation. I just feel very uncomfortable with all of employment right now. I just feel very uncomfortable with it. It just doesn't seem like it's right. And it is based on maybe the post-COVID realities, maybe. It's just different now. Things have, the idea that you could just stop employment like for 2 weeks or however long it was, it really just changed a lot of things. We didn't have anybody working or quote unquote, what did they call those? Essential workers. They worked, but the rest of the people weren't essential. And so the world still managed to go around and around and around. It's very strange. So as usual, I just have a bunch of articles we can look over and just go from there. I don't really have any, there's no theme for tonight, but let's get to it. Here's the first article. Now, I just want to make sure. I hate that. I love this one. I hate this one. Now, if I were doing a show with, if I had some guest on, we could go like that. They would be right down here below me, but I don't, but I can't, I have the ability to do it. So someday maybe that'll happen. Anyway, let's look at this article here. It says the hospital network employee fired after questioning deal with agency run by CEO's husband. That's the lawsuit now. So like just from the headline, this is in Canada, first of all. Hospital network employee fired, after questioning deal with agency run by CEO's husband. So the husband of the CEO has some deal, and somebody thought that was no good. So it says a former finance director at a major Ontario hospital network is coming forward saying in a lawsuit she was fired after raising questions about a multi-million-dollar contract between the hospital network and an agency run by the hospital network's CEO husband. Her notice of claim says that CEO is Michelle D. Emmanuel, who has since been temporarily seconded, I don't know what that means, from Trillium Health Partners to work as the head of Ontario's public service and the deputy minister to the premier. Oh, so she's a political appointee as well. I knew instantly that if it would raise, it would be a career-ending move, but I knew at the same time it was the right thing to do. Barbara Baca, whose role included reviewing contracts at THP to make sure that they are done according to provincial rules, told CTV News Toronto. Very rarely do you get an expression of honesty from an employee in this situation. Most would put their head down and say, well, I'm sure it doesn't look good, but I'm sure it's not as bad as I think. That's the idea. Now, we don't know, and we'll never know what the truth is. So let's continue. It says, Trillium Health Partners denied the allegations in a statement saying that it followed proper procedures and it intends to fight the claims about the estimated $5 million contract with Mohawk MedBuy Corporation, a shared services organization that bulk buys hospital goods and services. The allegations you have referenced are without merit and not true. The lawsuit in question will be vigorously defended in court. Any suggestion that Ms. de Manuel THP's board of directors or its leadership have acted improperly or against the hospital's interests regarding THP's membership in Mohawk Medbuy Corporation, or any transactions related to that membership is false. The suit, which was filed in February, Baca claims that on March 26, 2019, she discovered that a $5 million contract was approved by the Hospital Networks board before she saw it. Someone flagged me on this and said, "Are you aware of this contract?" They thought I had been, and I went, "I've never seen this before." In the statement of claim, Baca says she examined the contract over the weekend, concluding an invalid sole source services contract had been awarded by the board to an external company, Mohawk Medbuy Corporation, in a perceived or actual conflict of interest. MMC's president and chief executive officer, Tony D'Emanuel, is the current spouse of the THP's president and CEO, Ms. D'Emanuel. So, what is she? A controller? She sees a contract come across her desk that looks like there's a conflict of interest. Now, let's discuss this. Okay, so say you see that come across. Okay, the first question that you might have is, well, who do I work for? I work for this organization. And the board has agreed to this contract. Okay. So what is it? Why do you need to step up? And who are you helping by stepping up? It looks like you're just getting whacked for no reason. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't stand up for what you believe in. It just seems like in here, it doesn't seem like the right move to make. And forgive me if I'm reading it wrong, but that's just the way I see it. So it says, in a statement of claim, we did that. In the suit, she claims she flagged that proper processes hadn't been followed in, and that another contract, and was fired days later on March 29th. Ms. Baca pleads that she was dismissed in retaliation for having uncovered the improperly procured MMC services contract. And in the alternative, Ms. Baca pleads that she was dismissed in order to remove the onerous oversight function she performed. Baca's lawyer, William Gale, told CTV News that she is seeking special and punitive damages for what she alleges is a wrongful dismissal. Her conclusion is that they could get rid of her due diligence role. The contract was among the concerns raised in a separate letter written in December by an anonymous group of doctors and obtained by CTV News Toronto. Trillium said it investigated the allegations, and the province's health minister said that she intended to review their findings. So there is another group of people that raised concerns. It says Trillium Health Partners produced internal members from March 29th that showed that the D'Emanuel's relationship was disclosed to the hospital network's board. They say she recused herself and followed an ethics regime. The hospital network said in a statement that many oversight steps that would normally be required were not, because Mohawk Medbuy is a nonprofit company. Now, look, as MMC is a not-for-profit corporation, no competitive bids were required on the THP's policy or Ontario's broader public sector procurement rules. Now, what I want you to understand, if you don't, is that because you're a nonprofit corporation doesn't mean that the people that run the nonprofit don't make bank. It's not unusual to see people at not-for-profits, the heads of those companies, making in the six figures easily. So I don't want to, and to me, six figures is a lot of money. Okay, maybe it's not to you, but I mean, the idea that that just because it's a nonprofit means there's no money in the nonprofit is a false understanding. As MMC is a not-for-profit corporation, no competitive bids were required under the policy or broader public sector procurement rules. Okay, so like they don't even have rules for a nonprofit in this case. The claimant's understanding of the BPS policy and THP's policy are both incorrect. Mohawk Medbuy said in a statement their CEO, Tony D'Emanuel, recused himself too, and the MMC was scrupulous in our adherence to these board-approved protocols, ensuring our CEO was not involved and did not participate in the process. Now, no offense. Just But like you've got the president of a hospital who's married to the president of this group. And they say, you know what? Hey, we should work together. And then they say to everyone involved, hey, we can't work together because we are the heads of our organization. So we're going to step away and let you figure it out. It just like, how does that solve the issue? D'Emanuel didn't respond to questions from CTV News Toronto. As Secretary of the Cabinet, she's the top public servant reporting to the Premier and the head of Ontario's public service. The secondment began on June 2nd, 2021. Hospital documents indicate when that secondment is finished, she is entitled to return to her position as Trillium Health Partners CEO. The province's opposition NDP introduced a bill in the legislation to require any health organization that receives over $1 million from the provincial government to disclose more details about salaries and contracts. Millions of dollars leave our hospital system through sole source contracts. France Martin Gelenas. That was a hockey player. I'm trying to do it, but I can't. Jelena. God, that was bad. France Zelena, the MPP who first introduced the bill, adding she hoped her bill would shed light on hospital contracts. So we don't know, what either of these two people made for this. But does it matter? And then for this woman, who I believe is a woman, Barbara Baca, was it worth it? Was it worth it to get fired to bring this to their attention? It seems like it isn't. It seems like this was a bad move. And maybe that's hindsight. What did she think was going to happen? Anyway, that's that article. I guess my thing is if you're an ethicist and you see an ethical violation and you call it out, don't be surprised if you get fired. If you see bad behavior in an organization, even with like the whistleblower rules and laws, don't be surprised if someone comes at you and takes you out, like, and fires you for some other, for cause. I don't feel like as an employee you have the upper hand in this situation. I don't know. What do you think? Tell me in the comments or chat. This was my second story, and I wanted to go over this one because I have significant. I'm very uncomfortable about this. Okay, so we'll kind of go through it as we go through the story, and we can just kind of hash it out. So the judge orders Wal Mart, the headline, to rehire worker with Down syndrome, provide more than $50,000 in back pay. Now, I'm not going to read the key points because that kind of gives away the article. It says the federal judge has ordered Wal Mart to immediately rehire a woman with Down syndrome and give her more than $50,000 in back pay after she prevailed in a disability discrimination lawsuit related to her firing from a Wisconsin store. But the judge denied a request to force Walmart to take other actions for the next 5 years in light of how it treated the woman. Walmart told CNBC on Wednesday that it would comply with the order to give Spaeth her job back. The woman's name is Marlo Spaeth. But a spokesperson said the company has not decided whether to appeal the ruling on back pay, along with the $300,000 in jury damages. Okay, it says, we take supporting all of our associates seriously and routinely accommodate thousands with disabilities every year. Now, I believe that to be true. I mean, if you've ever seen a Walmart greeter, sometimes they're handicapped, they're in wheelchairs and whatnot. I mean, I think that's true. But let's continue. It says the judge's order is the latest developments in a more than 5-year court battle between the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and Walmart, the nation's largest private employer. The federal agency sued Walmart on Spaeth's behalf after the retailer refused to accommodate her disability and fired her after nearly 16 years of working at one of its supercenters. She worked at a retail store for 16 years. As part of the lawsuit, the EEOC had asked Judge William Griesbach to require that big box retailer add training for managers about the Americans with Disabilities Act. The EEOC had wanted Walmart to notify all employees about a jury's verdict in Spaeth's favor, their legal rights, and their ability to contact the federal agency to report violations. The EEOC had cited similar discrimination lawsuits against Walmart, arguing that the company's actions against Spaeth are part of the problem. It says Griesbach, in his February 22nd ruling denying the request, said that most of the EEOC's requests are directives that Walmart obey the law. The judge wrote the substantial verdict against Walmart and the publicity it generated serve as a strong deterrence against any repeat of the conduct at issue in this case. I don't agree with that. I think that if they want to cause issue, they will cause issues. It says, Griesbach also said it will create a strong incentive for Walmart to ensure that requests for reasonable accommodations are adequately addressed without court oversight of Walmart's administration and enforcement of its policies and procedures. An EEOC attorney, Justin Mueller, declined to say whether the agency will appeal Griesbach's refusal to force Walmart to take additional steps the agency wanted. Now, this is a government agency. They have unlimited funds. They can harangue any organization they want to for as long as they want to. It says the ruling came about 7 months after a Wisconsin federal jury found that Walmart violated the law when it changed Spaeth's working hours and refused to accommodate her disability. The jury awarded Spaeth more than $125 million in damages for the disability discrimination lawsuit, one of the highest in federal agents' history for a single victim. So $125 million. Hey, you get $125 million. But that award was immediately reduced by the judge to a statutory maximum of $300,000. Where do you get this? Where do you get, like, I mean, seriously. In recent weeks, the EEOC and Walmart have argued in court papers over how to calculate the amount of back pay Spaeth would receive to comply with the judge's order. The two parties still disagree on the amount Walmart must pay Spaeth to offset the tax liability she will incur from the money she was due to receive. Gosh, we're fighting over after-tax profit, which was income. But let's continue. Nothing short of traumatic. Now, we've gone through this whole article, okay, and nothing about what actually happened at her job. And so let's continue with that. It says, for more than a decade, Spaeth had tidied store aisles, folded towels, and helped customers at the Walmart store in Manitowoc, a city on the shore of Lake Michigan. During that time, she regularly received positive performance reviews and raises. Her work hours were changed in 2014 when the store began using a computerized scheduling system designed to match staffing levels with customer traffic. Spaeth struggled to adapt to the new hours and worried that she would miss the bus or her dinner time. That led to her sometimes leaving early. Spaeth and her sister, Amy Jo Stevenson, repeatedly asked for her schedule to be changed back, but Walmart refused and ultimately fired Spaeth. So what happened was, based on this, it's like we have new software that determines when we're busy and when we're not. And when we're not busy, we don't want you at the store working. We want to try and extract as much profit as possible as we can. We are a business after all. And so paying employees for a time when they're not needed to be there doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So then she's like, hey, I want to eat my dinner and I want to catch the bus. Then they said, hey, can you change the schedule back? And they said, no. But so Stevenson said in a CNBC interview in July that when her sister lost her job, she lost her sense of purpose. She wouldn't come to the phone or pose for a photo. She buried her head in her hands when a Walmart commercial came on TV. It was nothing short of traumatic. It was hard, very difficult to watch. She filed a complaint with the EEOC, which later led to the lawsuit. So, the question is, I guess, do handicapped or people with disabilities, does accommodations include setting hours in which they can work? And that appears to be yes. It's very odd. It's a very odd story. I feel bad for everybody involved. Walmart's just going to get dragged through the mud on this one. And you say, well, as well they should. The lady lost her job. It's not like she's going to get it back. That's no good. Oh, yeah, they said it's going to rehire her, but it's going to be kind of uncomfortable because the whole thing is she can't go. I mean, are you saying that the company can't set someone's hours for working as a part-time employee? I mean, this is a dicey problem. Okay, well, anyway, that's what I had. And look at this story here. This 38-year-old makes $160,000 per month in passive income. I work only 5 hours a week now. Look at that. I don't make any money in passive income. Maybe that's my problem. Anyway, let's go on. It says Tesla to defend lawsuit against ex-employee who appeared in Audi Super Bowl ad. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting too. So say you're working for Tesla, and then Audi says, hey, we're shooting a commercial. Do you want to be in it? And you say yes. Is that the best policy? Is that the best plan for your employment? Or do you expect to get fired at that point? Let's just look into it. It says Tesla will defend itself in a lawsuit in federal court against an ex-employee and former Oregon State football player who says he was fired from the company after appearing in a Super Bowl ad for Audi. The former Tesla employee, Naaman Frank, alleges he was racially discriminated against and fired from a store management position after appearing in a Super Bowl ad for the German automotive company in 2020. Now, if you are fired from your job, you will tend to believe whatever you want to believe, and it will never be your fault. I don't know if there is racial discrimination. I just know that, you can feel that way, and it's okay. You can feel that you've been discriminated against. You can have uncomfortable feelings about losing your employment. That seems logical. But one of the things that's strange is, even in this article, he starts off as being a former Oregon State football player. Who gives a rip? Is he a famous? I don't know who he is. Is he famous? I don't remember him. I don't recall his body of work. I don't know what position he played. So I'm a little bit confused by this. What does that have to do with anything? So anyway, Frank, who filed the lawsuit in Los Angeles County, claims the CEO, Elon Musk, made the decision to fire him after he appeared in a 2020 Super Bowl commercial. Additionally, Frank, an African-American, says he was subjected to racial discrimination throughout his tenure at Tesla and was passed over for promotions at least 4 times. He also says he was the subject of racially based comments and insult. A report from Bloomberg Law said Frank's complaint also added that he was the only African-American manager company-wide at the time of his employment. So, I'm just trying to go over this in my understanding. So if there were a majority of African-American managers at the company, this complaint would not hold water? Is that where we're going with that? I don't know. Tesla officially removed the case to the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California yesterday, stating Frank named his manager at the time as a defendant in order to defeat the federal diversity jurisdiction. Frank's manager, Susie Hetzis, and Frank are both California residents. Tesla was organized and formed under Delaware law, and its headquarters are no longer located in the Golden State. Tesla moved its headquarters to Austin, Texas late last year. So I don't know about that whole paragraph as far as, how one finds standing or the venue is decided for this particular type of case. I'm just not that strong in the law. But it says they've got it to the U.S. District Court. It says Frank said he had permission to appear in the ad for Audi. As the complaint states, management knew that he had requested and was given by permission by Tesla management to appear in the Audi e-tron commercial. However, Frank says in the complaint that Tesla's reasoning for his resignation or termination was for appearing in the commercial, which was a conflict of interest. The request was a pretext. a pretext to termination. Now, no offense, okay, but was he named as an employee of Tesla in the commercial for Audi? If he was, I can see how that's not going to fly. What do you think? Anyway, the complaint also says Frank suffered substantial financial losses and stock benefits because the company wrongfully, constructively terminated before his stock options fully vested at 4 years of employment. So it sounds like you get to make it 4 years at Tesla, and all of a sudden you get stock options, and he didn't make it that far, and so now he feels that he's earned those, or that they fired him because they didn't want to give him the stock options. Now, that's the allegation. I don't know if it's true or not. It says the 2020 Super Bowl between the Chiefs and 49ers was played on January 31st. Frank's complaint says he was asked to resign or he would be terminated on February 1st. So like the day after just simple math by me, I could be wrong, but the day after the commercial would have appeared, he would be asked to resign or terminate. Okay. The lawsuit comes at a time when Tesla is fending off racial discrimination lawsuits, including one from the California DFEH. Last year, a former employee at Tesla's Fremont factory was awarded $137 million in a settlement due to racial discrimination. Tesla said it planned to appeal the suit. Now, I just want you to understand that last case, the Wal Mart case, the lady with Down syndrome was awarded $125 million, and it was capped at $300,000. We don't know what this particular settlement will be capped at. But anyway, what do you think? What do you think about this? It seems like this was an unhappy camper because he's got a lot of ammunition against Tesla. I don't understand. Like, is he an actor, like a part-time actor? Is that why he's, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I thought it was interesting. I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it's like, why would you work for another company in a commercial? Like, how can you think that's a good idea? And then if you're Tesla, why did you approve of such a silly idea? Like, and then, honestly, like if you're in a company, do you ask for like something written from HR? Like to, like, hey, I'm going to be in a commercial for a competitor. Is that okay? Could you put that down in paper and writing for me? I don't know. Whatever you think is good. Okay. Now I saw this article on Yahoo, and I wanted to, I think that unionization has gotten a new breath of air in the United States. I think that they kicked the unions pretty hard. Not as, like all these companies were making all this money and all these employees were doing so well. Amazon, Starbucks in particular, REI, I believe, has got a union shop in Buffalo, New York. Maybe it's Buffalo. Maybe I misspoke, but I'm just saying, hey, all of a sudden the union's starting to get their foot kind of in the space. And I'm not anti-union. I don't have an opinion, but let me say that I think that both sides, when it comes to fighting off unionization or working towards unionization, fight very, very dirty. How about that? Is that fair to say? Okay. It says there's a growing trend of employees at major companies, including Apple and Amazon, trying to unionize. It says, let's look at some of the unionization trends across the country, the response of the organizations, and then explore if a union can really help workers today. That would be a masterful article. If it's even close to being halfway decent, this would be a masterful piece of writing. Let's see. It said food service workers unionizing. Workers at quick service and fast food chains like Chipotle and McDonald's are trying to unionize at an unprecedented pace. While these chains haven't had success yet, the coffee chain Starbucks has. Workers in more than 100 Starbucks locations across 19 states are already organizing unions. However, Starbucks leadership is fighting it. Now, let's be honest. Every single organization that's not union is going to want to fight to remain free of the union. For instance, Starbucks. Starbucks is a public company. They should perform and work towards the benefit of their shareholders, but their shareholders are probably like BlackRock, so they're just horrible people anyway. But anyway, let's keep going. It says, what I'm saying is, don't be surprised by a company fighting unionization. That's just, and not only don't be surprised, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. Do you think they're just going to roll over and want to be a union company? Like, what company's ever done that? And that's still in business. In addition to urging workers to vote against unions, Starbucks leadership has asked the National Labor Relations Board to require stores in the same region to vote as a group rather than individually. This could prevent some stores in certain areas from unionization if the majority of all employees at the locations in that region don't vote yes to unionization. I want you to know that the National Labor Relations Board is a bizarre entity. And I believe that people that work or that are on the board are appointed by either the president or something. It is a bizarre governmental organization and a quasi-governmental organization, and it's just like, it's crazy. Starbucks also launched a We Are One Starbucks websites, which urged Starbucks employees to vote against union and cites employee benefits like health insurance, college tuition, and Spotify premium subscriptions as ways the company supports its workers. Eater points out that unionization could lead to a minimum wage of $25 an hour for baristas at the coffee houses. Now, look, they say, hey, we give you health insurance, and for that, you get paid a lower wage. Hey, we give you college tuition at Arizona State, and for that, we give you a lower wage. And hey, we give you Spotify premium, and for that, we pay you a lower wage. Whereas some of the people there, maybe they aren't college material. Maybe they don't like Spotify. Maybe they like Apple. So it's a problem. It's a problem. It's like, how much does a company, how much of their profit is made by exploiting the workforce? I'm at 44 years old saying that. Okay. 25-year-old me or 30-year-old me wouldn't think that way. And maybe when I get older, I'll think even more radically. But I'm just saying right now, like we went over it yesterday, Starbucks CEO is worth $4 billion. I suspect there's other people in the organization also worth at least perhaps $100 million. There's a lot of money involved. And so I'm a little uncomfortable with this. I don't believe in socialism. Don't get me wrong. These are ugly disputes, and I don't know. I don't know that there's a good answer. Here's what I can't stand: workers at Wal Mart who need to, are required to basically sign up for food stamps and government assistance because their job doesn't pay enough. That really makes me sick, like internally sick. If that makes me, if you think that makes me a bad person or not an arch capitalist, well, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I'm not anymore. So Apple workers unionizing. Retail employees in at least 8 Apple stores are also starting the process of unionization. 2 of these groups are planning to file their formal petitions with the NLRB soon, while others are still in the earlier stages, according to the Washington Post. Apple retail workers currently own between $17 to $30 per hour, a far cry from most food service paychecks. But workers say the wages are still not keeping pace with inflation or the company's profits. The company showed revenue of $378 billion last year, up from $240 billion in 2017. Now, I don't care too much about revenue. I care about profit. Apple CEO Tim Cook could be looking at a $99 million compensation package in 2022. Retail workers at Apple stores said Apple's massive sales figures are in part a result of retail employees' passion for and knowledge of the products they sell. So like the Genius Bar. Do you believe that? Retail workers are struggling and they are hurting, and we work for a company that has the resources to make sure that they're taken care of, one labor organizer told Fast Company. Do you believe that? Do you believe that union organization will get those employees what they, will it work? And like, does any company voluntarily try to, really step up to the, let's just say, and I'm just putting this out there. This is hypothetical. Let's say that Apple comes out tomorrow and says, you know what? We're going to pay everybody $60 an hour. Okay. Which is double what you make now. Okay. Would people still try to unionize Apple? I think at any number, there's always a union influence. I think for the longest time, you'd see stories from, planted by unions about Wal Mart. And you say, well, John, why would unions want to have Wal Mart be unionized? Well, it's pretty simple. Think about how powerful the union would be if the largest employer in the United States was a union company. Think about how much power they have. If they want to go on strike, they could shut down every single Walmart. That's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. Anyway, retail workers are struggling. Oh, we did that part. So it says Amazon worker continue to fight for innovation or unionization. A worker at Amazon Fresh stores in Seattle are similarly pushing unionize. Rather than relying on existing unions, however, the grocery store employees are forming their own group called Amazon Workers United, the Columbian War reported. So far, Amazon has refused to recognize the Amazon Workers United Union. Workers at Amazon Fresh are seeking fair treatment, higher pay, and better working conditions. Now, to me, like, what do we want? Fair treatment. How does one do that? And then what do you want? Higher pay. Okay. How much higher pay? And then we demand better working conditions. What does that mean? Like a nicer break room? No offense, but if you're going to be that vague, it's hard to support that. The union trend grows, it says. Workers at REI in the Soho neighborhood of New York City recently voted to unionize, winning the vote by an 86% margin. It is the only unionized REI store out of 174 locations. Workers in Tesla's Fremont, California factory are also once again pushing for a union vote. And this time, Tesla CEO and techno king Elon Musk said he won't fight the vote. What could unions accomplish? Oh, good. Sorry. The common thread running through all these companies is workers looking for better pay and better treatment. To me, workers would always be looking for better pay and better treatment, like union or not. It's like human nature to want more. Workers at Starbucks, Chipotle, and Amazon Fresh all cited unwarranted firings, often over union-related matters or changes in policies that employees weren't aware of, as a key point they were fighting. But do union workers really earn more? And so I can just speak to the Starbucks changes in policies. It seems like they change policies every week. It's not good. They're trying to reorganize kind of, and this unionization is probably not helping that. But then the question is asked, but do union workers really earn more? Forbes reported that union members in 2020 earned a median weekly wage of $1,144, while non-union members earned $958. Meanwhile, union dues average $400 annually, according to Labor Relations and Anti-Union Services website, ANH.com. Now, it is a positive that whoever wrote this article said plainly that they were using statistics based on an anti-union website. Now, maybe they will dispute that they are anti-union, or maybe they won't. I don't know. But the point is at least they put it out there, because I don't know anything about A&H, but now I could go there and find out. From an earnings standpoint alone, unionization is worth it for many employees, and that doesn't factor in the additional benefits union can fight to secure for their members, including additional paid time off, better working conditions, fair treatment, and better benefits. Now, again, all of those things, like additional paid time off, is a real thing. Better working conditions, I have no idea what that means. Fair treatment, I have no idea what that means. And better benefits, I have no idea what that means. Like, I mean, just in the Starbucks thing, okay? If the union negotiates Apple iTunes over Spotify, does that make it better? If you like iTunes more. The Economic Policy Institute shares that union workers get an average of 11.2% more and gain greater access to health insurance and paid sick leave. I don't understand, like, why are we fighting the health insurance fight? Wasn't that solved with Obamacare? That's what I was told. Did they lie to me again? Did the politicians lie to me and I'm just now finding out? Sneaky. Even with many states raising the minimum wage in 2022 and a tight labor market that continues to drive employee wages higher in an effort to find quality workers, employees with unions behind them are likely to garner even higher pay, historically speaking. All right. Are they going to garner the same amount of employees? Because that's what I normally see. Is like, yes, you can go union, but you're going to lose like a quarter of your employees. So is that worth it? Oh, not to the quarter that get booted. The pandemic opened many people's eyes to the importance of their work in retail, hospitality, and other hourly wage positions. You know, that is an interesting way to look at it. These people definitely were important before then. They're important now. I think people took them for granted. And I think that if they would have actually shut down all the jobs, you would have really understood how important these people were during the virus, even though it still exists now. So it's not past, but our response to it has? I don't know. Sometimes in some places, it's hard to understand. These individuals were not able to work from home and risk their health to serve the public, often earning less than a living wage. Today's workers view unions as one solution to the issue of wage inequality, which is inequity. Now, these individuals were not able to work from home and risk their health to serve the public. I think they risked their health to make enough money to survive. I don't think that they were doing it like for your benefit. No offense. If companies wish to attract workers, it could become harder for them to fight unions as the concept grows more prevalent. So the idea there is that everyone will want to go work for a union organization. That's not true. I can tell you that that's not true. Okay, here we go. This one is fascinating to me. And I wanted to go over it with you because I don't want to be accused of management talking points. But I thought this was I just thought this was interesting, and I thought we could enjoy this. So it says dozens protest alleged wage theft at Saratoga McDonald's. Now you say wage theft. Wait a minute. You're telling me that the fry cook or the janitor had his wages or his or her wages stolen at McDonald's? That's terrible. That's terrible. Then we see it says employees complaint with Labor Commission says they weren't paid sick leave. Now, do you know if McDonald's offers paid sick leave? I don't even know if that's a policy. And from where I come from, I mean, most of my life I've been an hourly. Most of the time I've not gotten paid sick leave. I can't imagine what that's like. It must be wonderful. It says dozens gathered outside of McDonald's in Saratoga Tuesday afternoon after two employees walked off the job to protest disrespectful treatment and lost wages. I've always wondered how the walkout goes. Like, do people just say, you know what? I was like chilling, and now I think, you know what, this last hamburger, it just really irritated me. I'm leaving. Like, to walk off the job, okay, you have to have an audience to see you walk off the job, or else it doesn't make any sense. It looks like you just got fired or you quit. Like if a tree falls in the woods, and does anyone notice? Same thing here. It's like, if you leave, would anyone notice? No, this has to be kind of staged. It says Sabrina, I'm going with Sabrina, I don't care, and Maria Garcia, employees of the McDonald's at 1850, whatever, it doesn't matter, in California, filed complaints with the San Jose Labor Commission last week that alleged both workers were not paid sick leave, and that Raimundo, a breast cancer survivor who was recently diagnosed with liver cancer, was discriminated against and called useless by management. That's tough. The group was composed of supporters, immigrant rights groups, cancer patient advocacy groups, Working Partnerships USA, SEIU, which is a union organization, and others holding signs for Fight for 15 in references to California's minimum hourly wage. So, like what I was telling you, is what seems to have happened is they did have an audience for them to walk out. So it was ceremonial. Raimundo, who's worked at McDonald's for 15 years, said in the complaint her hours were cut more than 25% after she told her manager that she can't work at a hot grill for long periods of time while she awaits a liver transplant for her cancer treatment. Now, this is terrible. Okay? It's terrible. Instead of coming to work at 5 a.m., I'm told to come in at 6:30 a.m., which is a big cut to my income that I need to pay my rent and my bills. Management is also scheduling me to work later than before until 2 p.m., although they know I need to leave this job at 1 so I can get to my second job at another McDonald's at 2 p.m. Even when they schedule me until 2 p.m., they often tell me to go home at 12:30 p.m., making me lose hours at both jobs. That's tough. The woman is working 2 jobs at McDonald's every day. Leanne Freeman, owner and operator of the Saratoga McDonald's, said in an email that her organization is looking into the matter. I care deeply for each one of my employees, and it is my expectation that they're treated with the utmost respect at all times. I take these disturbing claims seriously. I think this qualifies as disturbing. Raimundo says her manager told her people with cancer smell bad. Oh my God. While she was undergoing chemotherapy for breast cancer, and that she was not paid for sick leave that she took to receive treatment. Now, it says they have the box with the clown to raise money for people with cancer, but they won't pay me the sick pay that I'm entitled to, Raimundo wrote in her complaint. Now, is she entitled to sick pay? I don't know. Is there some sort of contract or something, or some sort of law in California that says this? I just don't know. I don't know enough to know. So it says Maria Garcia, who filed the complaint with Raimundo, said management does not provide sick pay for a day she has to miss while caring for her sick daughter. She said she has still not received those wages 5 months later. It says the complaint alleges that McDonald's owes a total of nearly $5,000 in back pay and penalties for wage theft from both employees. Workers said this incident was part of a long history of disrespectful behavior, and said that management failed to provide paid leave for those sick with COVID-19. In January 2021, a separate worker at that location filed a complaint with Cal OSHA, Santa Clara County Public Health, and Santa Clara County OSLE after a manager allegedly told the employee they had to come to work despite not feeling well. Look, one of the problems in this, to me, is we have too many organizations here. We've got this Cal OSHA, Santa Clara County Public Health, Santa Clara County OSLE. That's too many. We just need one. After testing positive for COVID, the worker said they were not paid quarantine wages In August of 2021, another worker said they didn't get quarantine pay and filed complaints. Who gets quarantine pay? I didn't get quarantine pay. I didn't even know that was an option. Those who attended the rally also voiced their support for Assembly Bill 257, which would create a fast food sector council. Oh, that's good. So on top of the Cal OSHA, Santa Clara County Public Health, and Santa Clara County OSLE, now you have the Fast Food Sector Council. The bill would allow workers to help set standards for health and safety across the fast food industry and hold giant corporations accountable. That is a bizarre statement. This hold people accountable thing has gotten out of hand. It's like a weapon. Holding someone accountable is not the same as beating them to death. The bill advanced to the California State Senate after the State Assembly passed it in January. This is not a McDonald's problem. This is a fast food industry problem. All the corporations from the fast food industry do the same thing. A representative from the man's office, I guess, who wrote the legislation. So they're going to change the industry. How are they going to change the industry? By making hamburgers like $15? I mean, this is a bad idea for this bill to go through. I understand how this works. Like the franchisees pay McDonald's a bunch of money. It's like a pyramid scheme. And for them to pay the money they need to pay McDonald's, they have to really, really scrape at the bottom. You know, really, really do despicable things with their employees as far as, paid sick leave. But I don't know. And no offense to anyone, but you have this picture and this is the worker and they look terrible. And then you have this lady here. I don't think she's a worker. She's got stylish shoes on. She's got her backpack with her, whatever that's called. They've got their little headbands on. So that means they support, there's some sort of group together. So, I mean, even the picture is suspect. Like, for instance, let me just, if I walked off my job tomorrow, okay, there's no one there with a bullhorn and signs. Also, do you get paid for when you walk out? Like, you on the clock? Again, I'm not trying to belittle it. I feel terrible about this situation. I don't know. What do you think? I think that I'm going to go here, and I think that I'm going to head on out for the day. I think I'm tired, and I think I'm going to maybe take a shower, but I'm definitely going to go to bed. So with that, I'm heading out. I got to change out the thumbnail. I got to do some other work. But anyway, thank you for watching. I know that you guys don't watch right at the live stream, which is sad. But hopefully you'll catch it on a replay tomorrow. If you could help me out, you've made it this far, could you please hit the subscribe button? You don't have to watch every night. We don't have to be best friends. I'd like it if we were friends, but I get it. There's other people to watch. But I would really like to get this channel off the ground. I think I'm at 8 subscribers, and it would be nice. This is January, February, March, April. Could I get to 10 subscribers by the end of June? I don't feel like I'm asking for that much. You don't ever have to watch again, I guess. Just subscribe. Be nice if you did watch some stuff. And we just got a community together that looks at these employment issues with, fairly for everyone. With that, I'm going to head on out. Thank you for watching. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. here at our channel. And with that, good night. Goodbye.